I just attended my 5th EDC Las Vegas, but this was my very first time in VIP and also doing RV camping at Camp EDC. So let's get into the pros and cons of each. All right, so like I've mentioned, this was my very first time doing VIP and Camp EDC. We're gonna get into the Camp EDC stuff first, the pros and cons of both camp and also RV camping. So since this was my first time, I have no idea about renting an RV or anything. My friend was the one that took care of all the details, so I can't provide specific details on rental or amp hookup or anything like that, because I think EDC offers several different type of RV passes, camping passes, things like that. I will throw up the breakdown here of the cost and you'll see what it was per person and things like that. My friend did rent the RV out of Arizona, so I don't know if that made it cheaper than if you were to rent the RV out of California or Vegas even. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I cannot provide further detail on the cost or how to actually book an RV camping pass or anything like that. Also, since I've never done Camp EDC, I've never stayed in the pods or even know anything about the pods. I think that there are different levels of pods just based on the different friend groups I had that were staying in them. But I'll tell you what, I know for sure I'll never stay in a pod. I've done tent camping before. It is not my vibe. And so tent camping at Camp EDC is something I would never do, and I can't speak on that. A little bit of logistics on Camp EDC if it is something that you have never done yourself. It is 4 days, so day 0 is the Thursday before EDC. So EDC starts Friday and then it goes Saturday and Sunday. You can check into camp on Thursday, we call it day 0. And the earlier that you go, the better of a spot that you'll get. So I believe that gates open up at 8 a.m. We got in line around like 10:30, and it took us about an hour from getting in line through getting our RVs checked, through making our way through camp, and then them placing us. So I know that the RVs are separated by if you buy the power banks to be able to run your RV all weekend, or if you don't. I guess if you don't buy the power hookups, then you're just running off a generator, I assume. Yeah, the earlier you get there, the better. We got a pretty good location. We were just a straight walk into the mesa. It probably took about 5 minutes to walk from our RV to the mesa, and then we were pretty close to the showers and then the nice concrete bathrooms in the concrete structure. So there were, we had running water, like sinks and toilets, toilet paper. There were, every time I went in there, I saw somebody cleaning it, and mirrors, and it was just a nice setup. And if you're further away from that, then you have to use the porta potties or the other flushable options, which I'll get into that later. We were also, I would say maybe about a 10-15 minute walk to get to the actual venue. So not a bad walk at all, but obviously the later in the day that you get, the further pushed back you're gonna be. So that walk could be a lot longer just depending on where you get placed. And also, if you wanna be able to park near your friends, I would suggest meeting up outside of Camp EDC before you even pull in, and then like kind of caravan in together, and then let the people know that are directing you that you want to be by your friend. Thankfully, me and my friends just happened to be placed pretty close together, so it wasn't an issue getting from RV to RV. And the thing I like about the RV camping is that I think every spot is numbered. I know that the area that I was in, the spots were numbered, and then there's streets. So say you're on Avenue H and 33rd Street, and then you're on lot number 66. So that's how we would communicate with each other, tell the exact cross streets, or say you're not on a cross street, you're on 34th Street, but you're in spot 260. So that is clutch to be able to find your neighbors and your friends. I do have a video of the check-in process, or just the day 0 in general, so I'll go ahead and link that up there if you want to go ahead and catch up on that. Getting into the pros first of RV camping / Camp EDC. So obviously the most pro of Camp EDC is the convenience to the festival. You don't have to drive. You're on site the whole time. Whether you have to walk 10 minutes into the venue or even 20, that's still better than driving yourself, taking an Uber or taking the shuttles. You're right there. So because of that, I've never done this before. I've never done 12 hours of EDC. I've never done dusk till dawn, and I did it this time because I could. So in years past where I either rented a car or took the shuttle, I would get there late at night. Well, not late at night, but it was already dark. So this is the first time I've ever seen EDC during the day. So day one, I went to opening ceremonies. You can see that here. I'll also link that video as well of day one EDC. I went to opening ceremonies, which was at 5 p.m. And the next 2 days it opens up at 7 p.m. Both days I went in when gates open and stayed all the way until sunrise. And I've never done that before. I did it one time just because I wanted to just get out of EDC and beat the traffic. I didn't want to spend 3 hours getting home because that's been my experience before. So being able to come and go as you please in and out of the festival is a huge convenience and a huge pro of Camp EDC. If you and your friends are camping, it's so easy to meet up with each other. The friends that I had in tents, I never went and saw their tents, and a few of the friends I had in RVs, I was able to find out exactly where they were. But just being able to have so many friends in one area was just so damn cool, and I loved it to be able to see them at the parties or inside camp. Service was bad, I'll get into that in a minute. So when I was able to communicate with them, I would let them know, hey, I'm at the Mesa, come and meet me, or let's go get something to eat, or I'll meet you at the pre-party, whatever. I just mentioned the pre-party. So the pre-party happens on day 0, the Thursday before EDC, and it is just this big kickoff of EDC weekend. So if you are not camping, you do not have access to that party or any of the other parties. So during Camp EDC, there's lots of activities to do. So there's like goat yoga, there are shuffle classes, there are rides on site. So I saw bumper cars, there's a Ferris wheel, and then there are the daytime parties. So the pre-parties Thursday, the daytime parties Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, pool parties as well. And then there's after parties every night too. So once EDC ends, the after parties start at 6 a.m. So if you're not camping, you can't have access to any of that unless you finagle your way and get a camping wristband. That's the only way that you can get into those things. One of the things I really liked about RV camping is being able to cook all of our food. So my group came so prepared. Thank you, Carmen and her friends, because they brought the RV from Arizona, they stocked it and brought it, and all myself and my friend Gabby had to do, because we're the only ones flying in, was just show up and give them money for the RV. So thank you guys so much for taking care of all the logistics and all the food, and they stocked that RV. There were snacks, we had things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They were making pancakes, omelets, burgers, tacos, hot dogs, macaroni and cheese. We had stuff for coffee, just so much stuff. So you pay all that at the beginning, and then it's affordable if you split it amongst each other. So much more affordable than eating camp food for every single meal, because camp food ranges from like $16, $18, $20, and the drinks that you got to drink there too. So we were able to bring in all of our own drinks too. So now you're not supposed to bring in glass bottles, but where there's a will, there's a way. So do with that what you will. Vegas is freaking hot in the day. It is a desert. So that RV AC came in clutch when it was just too unbearably hot to be outside, which I found out was most of the time being at Camp EDC. So me and my group pretty much just stayed in our RV during the day, and I'm glad we had it. Got a really big spacious RV, and it was for 6 people, and we all fit comfortably in it. It came with 2 bunk beds. So I'll just link it here. So it came with 2 bunk beds, a big like king or queen bed, and then a fold-out couch. So 2 of the girls slept on the back bed, the boys stayed in the bunk beds, and me and my friend Gabby fit on the couch, and that was comfortable. And that group was easy to sleep with because nobody snored, nobody breathed heavy. Maybe they did, but I was just so tired that I would just rack out every time. But very spacious RV, and just having a place to sit during the day and be covered from the shade. And we set up a little outside area too. When it wasn't too hot, we would sit out there. But it's just comfortable being able to have a place to change. Like there were multiple bathrooms that somebody could be in, or all the girls would change in the back room together. It was just comfortable. I can't imagine getting ready in a tent. Actually, I can, because I've done Tomorrowland tent camping, and that was awful. So the RV in general is just full of comfort. Our RV did have a bathroom or 2 toilets and a shower. We only used the water for like cooking and brushing our teeth if we had to pee, but we never went number 2 in there, and we didn't shower in there. I think that you can have your RV set up to be able to do those things on camp, but we didn't do that. So we just used the showers on site. And so this is going to lead into the cons. So they do have showers that run on site, and if you get there at a good time, you may not have to wait for a line, and there may be hot water. But when it turns into a con is that sometimes you do have to wait. So I think the longest I waited for a shower was maybe 20-25 minutes, and that one of the times the water was freezing cold. So that's something I just do not like about camp. I want to be able to shower when I want, and also just to be able to get out of bed and pop into the shower. And the same thing with the toilet, since we weren't using our bathroom at all. We'd have to, you know, even though it wasn't a far walk, point is we still had to leave our RV every time we had to use the bathroom or take a shower, and which isn't the worst thing ever, just because they were proper accommodations for those. Like, I'd be pissed if I had to use a porta potty all weekend, which I know some campers did because they weren't next to the good bathrooms. But that is just a con to me. I don't want to wait for showers. I don't want to take a freezing cold shower, even though I'm in the Vegas desert. And then I also just don't want to be trekking across the parking lot to get to a toilet. So those are the downsides of camping to me. I've mentioned that we stayed inside the RV a lot and just sat in the AC. So even though camp has all of these fun, amazing activities to do, it's just too hot. I did not want to be out there. And a lot of people in my group didn't either. My whole group just in general stayed inside, but the other friends I had camping, we would hardly see each other during the day because it was so hot. So if you had an RV, everybody just kind of stayed in their RVs during the day. And then the people in the tents, they said that their ACs just weren't working certain parts of the day because they just get overheated and it wouldn't cool down their tent. So they were forced to go sit in the shade in the mesa. So good thing that there's shade, but it's still so miserably hot. And I just remember, you know, seeing like the looks on my friends' faces of just how hot they were. And, you know, I couldn't bring everybody back to my RV as much as I would want to, you know, like we were already cramped and it's a lot of space. So as fun as camp may be, I couldn't enjoy it. So I feel like I didn't get the most benefit out of camp that I could have with all the things that they had to offer because it was too hot to participate. One of the hugest downsides of camp to me was the no service. I create videos. This is what I do. This is what I love. Yes, I get the whole living in the moment and putting your phone down. I do that, but I also like to record YouTube videos and TikToks and Instagrams and to be able to post. And when I'm at a festival, the people that aren't at the festival with me, I get such good feedback that they love seeing it and they love seeing the ins and outs. So of course I want to post everything too for the people that aren't there with me because they like it. So the service was just awful. There was definitely no service at all in the RV, and there was Wi-Fi at the mesa, but it was still spotty as hell. For some reason, the Wi-Fi worked a little bit better inside the venue, which was crazy. Like the text would go through, still couldn't really do Instagram or TikTok unless I was back at the mesa, but I thought it was kind of crazy that my text would go through inside the actual festival, but not at camp. So that was a huge downside. A cool activity to do, like cool down, would be to go to the pool parties, but those pool party lines were outrageous. I don't know how previous years looked, if it was the same kind of situation, but there were several pools and they were separated and there were long ass lines to both. It was just too hot. Like I didn't want to wait in that line. I didn't know how long it was going to take, so I don't know if that was actually worth it, but I never got to do a pool party at camp. Another con of camp is that you can't really escape the quiet. So the closer to the mesa you are, then you're gonna just hear the music and the people going on at the mesa. And it seems like there's music at all times because it's the pre-parties during the day, and then I guess the only quiet time would be when you're at EDC, and then when you get out of EDC, it's the after party, and the after party eventually turns into the daytime party. So I feel like the closer to the mesa you are, the louder it is because of the music that's always going on. And we weren't really close to the mesa, so that wasn't my problem, but the problem I had was dealing with the neighbors around me. Like some people just don't sleep, or you know, they just don't care about if it's 7 in the morning or not. They're gonna blast their music. The RV did kind of help buffer, but you can still hear music playing, so earplugs is a necessity. And then the jets that fly over EDC, those are so loud, so I feel like you just really can't escape the noise at any point in time. Now let's jump into doing VIP at EDC. So as I've mentioned, this was my very first time. I started doing VIP festivals in 2022, and I usually just put it on a layaway plan. Like, I know it's expensive, but I just put on layaway plan and let, you know, pay it off that way. But I really do enjoy VIP, and it's pretty much a similar experience across all festivals. So let's get into my EDC VIP experience. VIP offers their own dedicated entry lines into the festival, and I think GA is also with that same section as well, so you could skip all the GA, have your own. It's usually like a quicker entry into the festival. You can also have, it acts as a fast pass to cut the lines inside the festival to do all the rides. And I was doing those rides, so best believe. Inside Kinetic Field VIP, they have their own Ferris wheel. I never got on the Ferris wheel just because I did the one inside camp, so I didn't really care to do that. They offer bars in there, the same kind of bars that you would have in GA. Food as well, but I noticed that the food can be a little bit more specialized, so I was able to eat a delicious ass Korean corn dog inside Kinetic Field, and I didn't see that corn dog anywhere else around the festival. Most of the stages also have a VIP section, so a dedicated dancing area. And yes, I know it can get crowded in there just like it does GA for certain artists. I did notice that, but for the most part, I was able to get up front, get close to the stage, and had plenty of space most of the time. And Kinetic Field does have an elevated dance section as well, so it has just like a really pretty view of everything. It's not close to the stage, but it's still like just being able to kind of be on top of everything was really cool. VIP and GA Plus both offer the AC bathrooms with the lights, the running water, the flushable toilets, and those are pretty much well kept throughout the festival, so that's always a plus. VIP also has its own water filling stations. I never really had an issue filling up my water, having to wait. I did have to wait the times that I was in GA and nowhere near a VIP section. Like Stereo Bloom doesn't have a VIP section, so that's the time I would have to wait for freaking water was out there. Kinetic Field does offer a complimentary breakfast every morning at 4 a.m. and it's like a hotel continental breakfast: bagels, fruit, pastries, coffee, juice. So I forgot about it Friday. When I went Saturday, I showed up around 3:50. The line was so long. I wasn't gonna wait for a free bagel and juice, so I went and ate another Korean corn dog. I'm not really sure what time you would have to line up to make sure that you get it, because it's while supplies last, so the food could eventually run out, or how long it actually takes to get through the line. So I never actually tried the breakfast myself. And then you get little tokens of appreciation. So let's see, I have it right here. I was able, most VIPs give you, or Insomniac VIPs give you a lanyard, and then I got like a little flat flask, it looked like, or maybe like a water bottle, and they're handing out candies and things like that. VIP also has a beauty bar. I thought you had to pay for that, but apparently that's free too. So those are just the top things that stick out in my mind of the VIP benefits. I'd say the only downside of VIP is the cost, that it's just more expensive in general. But like I said before, I just put VIPs on layaway plans and pay it off that way. So with the layaway plan, you do pay a $10 fee, but that's okay to me, just to be able to spread out the cost of $1,000 over a year than just dropping that at one time. If you have it, drop it, do it. But overall, of course, I would recommend VIP. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people just see it as a complete waste of money. That's fine, but for the people that want to experience VIP, they've always wanted to do it, just never tried it, try it. I had a good time. If you try it and don't like it, then you never do it again, but at least you know for yourself if you like it or not. And not just at EDC, maybe any festival, just try VIP at least one time. To close out, this was the best EDC of my existence. Just being there with all of my rave besties that I've made over the last year was amazing. Just having so many people that I know and love all experience this together and in one place was truly amazing. And experiencing VIP for the first time and Camp EDC, all of that just made this experience so incredibly beautiful. So if you've never done EDC, give it a shot. If you've never done Camp EDC, give it a shot. If you've never done VIP, give it all a shot, because I really did have a good time. I'm just not a camp girl, so I don't want to camp again. And honestly, I don't know if I'm ever gonna do EDC again, just because this is my 5th one. It is time for new adventures. I want to see the rest of the world and all the other festivals that are out there. So no plans on returning to EDC anytime soon, if ever, but that's okay. So thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and catch up on all of my other EDC content. I'll drop the playlist up here. And oh, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you want more festivals, food, and flying. We're only halfway through the year and I have so many other events to go to. Bye.